If we can handle Steve Barker's tricky side half as well as our coach handles the media, then we're almost into the final already. It is Talking Buccaneers with me, Fumane, before the mighty Buccaneers take on Stellenbosch FC for the first leg of the MTN 8 semi-final, which will be taking place at Athlone Stadium in Cape Town, Sunday, 3rd of September, 3 p.m. Okay, that's out the way. The intro's out the way. I want to dive right into this game. So excited to preview this one. Stellenbosch FC are one of my favorite teams to watch. They're one of my most entertaining just because of, you know, the system that they have. And the way that I think of them is they are a system and they've got these parts that fit very well into the system, and they've got this, you know, very efficient system that does what it does, and it does it very well. And it's no coincidence that we lost to them. I assure you, it is no coincidence. If you will have seen their previous scoreline versus Kaiser Chiefs, you might be deceived to thinking, you know, losing 2-0, getting a red card, that, yeah, maybe this is not, you know, a team that is good or something like that. But make no mistake, this is a very well-oiled machine that does what it does, and it does it really well. And what it does, it hunts the ball down and it chases and packs, and then it hits you on the counter and it hits you hard. And it's going to be exciting for me to see how our coach, Jose Rivero, who I think will have a plan, just listening to him in the media, it seems like he's very well aware. Obviously, I mean, these guys are professional and they're good at what they do. He will have a plan. He's got these people that work with him, you know, trying to see how to, well, firstly, what Stellenbosch does, and then Jose Rivero will have to, you know, get some messaging from the people that he works with as to how to counter, or rather, you know, be proactive, but in this, while doing it, being able to manage the risk that they pose. And he'll obviously have a plan. And yeah, I'm here to think about some of that plan and what Stellenbosch will throw at us. And what they will throw at us, maybe starting there, is they will throw speed. I've already mentioned that. Quick counters. They've got a big man up front. They don't hesitate, you know, launching the ball up to him at times, but I don't want you to think that that's all they do. I don't want you to think about, you know, a route one kind of team, although that is one of their, I guess, strategies. They will launch it sometimes long to their big man, De Jong, who makes it stick very well. I think De Jong, very credit to that player. He's very good at what he does. I think he's one of those target mans who is also good at coming and joining in and helping the team. You know, sometimes he will pin the centre backs back most of the game, but sometimes he'll come short and allow those spaces, like a clever number half 9 or false number 9, half 10. What he will do is he'll come deep and create those spaces for on runners to run into. And yeah, he's very important for them, how they play. So they will not hesitate to launch it. The other thing that they will do is they'll stick man out wide. Usually they will stick Reyners, who's very rapid. In the last game, they will also stick Titus out wide on the right wing, who's also very rapid as well, but will not be playing in this game because he got a red card in the last versus Kaiser Chiefs. But Van Rooyen, the right back, is another one who will offer width sometimes when Bassadine, you know, stays back, the left back. Van Rooyen is the one who's going to offer that width, and they will not hesitate, like I already mentioned, to kind of play it on the left, keep it in one side, and then switch it to the other side, and then have that pace going forward. And so that's one of the things that they will do. Yeah, the other thing that they will do, which is a huge strategy of theirs, is obviously Orlando Pirates is going to want to keep, and will rightfully so, keep most of the possession in this game, you know, being the bigger club. With all due respect to Stellenbosch, we've got the better players, man for like, man for man. We've got the better players. We will keep the ball in this game, and that's what they want. They want it like that. Very important to note, Stellenbosch wants Orlando Pirates to have the ball, and then they will have the two men up front, which is Reyners, who's going to be the one who's going to be chasing the ball. And I say chasing and not pressing because that's literally what he does. He chases it with great pace and speed, and you know, obviously forcing if you've not got good ball playing centre backs, then you're in trouble, because it's going to force those loose passes. And as soon as you do that, when they sense a loose pass, they pounce. They've got their midfield almost joining it, and they pin it on one side and they win the ball back, and then very quickly, with high tempo, they will attack you. And that's what happened in the last game. If you will have watched that first game where we played them on the 5th of August, opening game in the DStv Premiership, which we lost, and not by coincidence, really by how good Stellenbosch is and how underrated they are. They won the ball back quite like that in midfield, loose pass, loose first touch, anything like that. They pounce, they won the ball back, they turn you around and you're facing your goal, and they attack you with speed and they score. So that's what they were looking for. Reynos will be chasing it, and then they will ping De Jong, the big man, the striker, to your pivot, which is Ndabaithetho Ndlondlo, whom I think is going to need to have a big game for us in this first one. And I'll get to other things just now, but they will pin De Jong on him. He will chase Ndabaithetho Ndlondlo around for almost all the game. He's going to be man-marking Ndabaithetho Ndlondlo, the pivot, or whoever will be playing there. I think it's going to be Ndlondlo. I think the coach will want to play him, and I'll get to that just now, I promise. They'll pin him there, and yeah. Something that's fascinating while at this is Orlando Pirates have adapted kind of how we build up. So last season, most of the games that I've watched, that was our thing. We'd build up with the two center backs, because we can in this league. Most teams don't press you that high. It's fascinating for me because in the last game versus Cape Town City, when Cape Town City actually is more proactive in their pressing, then we struggled to exit because we were building up with the two. And one of the other things is our goalkeeper, who should be helping us, giving us that numerical advantage versus there are two strikers who are pressing us so that we become a three and be able to build up better. Isn't that good? Sipho Shaine, let's be entirely honest. His feet aren't amazing. I was very much, deceived last season to thinking that he's the solution to what I thought was Ofori's problem, that with Ofori we can't play the ball at the back, and it's so important these days to be able to build up from the back and have your goalkeeper become a part of it, because then it frees men up front to be able to bypass those lines when your goalkeeper becomes an outfield player. However, Sipho Shaine is not that solution. He's a bit better than Ofori in that regard. However, he's still below par. If we're going to want to, like I said, build up from the back, which is what obviously we try to do. And it seems like he persists, even though he makes those bad touches, bad passes. He persists with that. And that tells me that this is obviously the coach's instruction to keep doing it. A lot of Buccaneers that I interact with on social media, complain about why does Sipho Shaine insist on playing the ball with his feet when every single time he makes mistakes and we're under pressure and things like that. The answer is it's because the coach will have told him, keep doing it, keep going at it. But one of the interesting things that I think we've adapted with this season is every now and again you'll see Zakhele Lepasa stretching the defense and the goalkeeper going long to him. We saw he scored like that. I think it was versus Royal AM, maybe Skukune, if I'm not mistaken, one of those two games. One of those high-scoring games, I remember Lepasa scored through, route one. Sipho Shaine just launched it up and got an assist for that. And Zakhele Lepasa, one-touch goal. So that's one of the things that I see us doing when we are pressed high is the goalkeeper will use Lepasa. Route one, just quickest way to get to the striker is play it to him. But that's one of the things that I think maybe we should look out for in this one, because when Stellenbosch presses us, it might be very hard to, to bypass those pressing lines of Stellenbosch. I think some of it is because although they are good, our centre-backs in playing from the back, they're not the most amazing. They're not the best in the league. And when you've got a side that presses very well, then that does get exposed a little bit. I've seen at times we've struggled to build up from the back when we found a team that doesn't, that doesn't step back when you've got the ball. I've lost the term now. But a team as proactive as Stellenbosch that wants to bring the game and that wants to press you, I've seen us struggle a little bit. Having said that, though, what fun it is to be wavering. I think what we do struggle against Orlando Pirates is against a team that isn't as proactive in the attacking sense. So I know I say that Stellenbosch is going to press us, but what I know they will do is they will cede possession to us because they just want to press and win the ball high and then counter attack, right? But what they will do is they will cede the ball to us, and what I've seen we struggle with are teams like that. You know, we're very good at beating the teams that, you know, give us those spaces in between the lines for us to play, and also the team that wants to keep possession, because we again are also pressing monsters. We win the ball very well in midfield and then we counter attack. So when we meet a team that wants to cede the possession and allow Orlando Pirates to dominate it, then it's sometimes a bit of a problem, and we've seen it this season. We saw it against Chippa United, we saw it against Stellenbosch. I would argue that we saw it for a moment against Cape Town City, because you look at the goal that we scored, obviously it was a great goal by Lupasa, but for large periods in that game we struggled to score just because of how, you know, Cape Town City was not in the game and it ceded the possession for us, and for a while they were very organized at the back, except until later on in that match when they lost their heads, I suppose. And we also adapted in that game, using the width some more to stretch them and create those gaps in between and for the runners, like you saw in the goal that Maswanganyi scored, the controversial goal that he scored, but a goal indeed. Yeah, so in this game, I do see us again struggling in that sense, because what they do, Cape Town, Stellenbosch, is they've got their two centre-backs, Muluisani and Torre, who will not join in the attack. They'll stay in a low block or a mid block sort of, but mostly low block. And then Mtetwa, who's a fantastic and is so massive for them, by the way. Mtetwa is one of the most underrated midfielders in this league. I think it's because of, you know, he plays for Stellenbosch, and yeah, maybe that does play into it a little bit. If he was at a big team, his role, what he's doing, I think it would be noticed some more. But he's so massive for Stellenbosch because he doesn't join that attack. What he does is he protects that backline very well. He takes care of them, and very good at reading the game. He will read the game and want to break up those attacks. So he's going to be the one that's going to be charged with taking care of Patrick Maswanganyi and the likes, you know, the Mufukengs, who will try and get into those number 10 positions, and Ronjo, who will at times join in and make that late run. He's going to be the one that's going to be having to protect the defense from those kind of players being threatening to Stellenbosch FC. And so that's what he does. He reads the game, and then he's also the one who dictates it. So he really joins the attack. That's what Palace does and Adams does. Those two are the two number 8s. They do the box-to-box work. You know, workmen-like midfield, nothing fancy. They keep it ticking, get the ball to the attack, get it to Reyners and Titus and Van Rooyen on the width, and De Jong up front. But really, let's just, you know, sit and protect. That's what Nteta will do, and that's what they will do. Palace and Adams, they will close those gaps in midfield. And Nteta does that even more, that he doesn't join the attack. So these two will kind of join in and give the numbers, where Reina sometimes offers the width, and he does. That's what he does. He stays out wide, and then he'll open that channel, and that's what Adams will try and occupy. And then they've got De Jong, who's fairly central, and then that right central channel will be occupied by Palace, who will also join in that attack. And then on the right, they'll either have the winger. If not the winger who's going to be playing there, it's going to be Van Rooyen, who will offer that width, and then the winger will come inside. And then you've got Palace mostly, who will sit back or join in sometimes, but Mteto, who will sit and protect that back 2 or 3, because when Van Rooyen goes on the right, Bassadine will stay, make it a 3, and then Mteto in front of them, and they've got a solid 4 just kind of sitting back while their attack try and fancy a chance and things like that. And how they fancy chances is, like I think I already mentioned, that they will launch it and will not hesitate to launch it to De Jong, the centre back, who will be pinning the centre forward, who will be pinning our centre backs. They will launch it to him. He's very good at making it stick. Will sometimes drop and join in and join the midfield to be able to open those gaps for the wide players to come into when they attack. But they launch it to him, or they'll launch it to the winger. So they'll play it on the left a little bit and then switch it on the right where they've got width, and then swarm into the box, and then they'll play crosses from early crosses from Van Rooyen, or they'll stick. What they will do actually in this game, I know, is they will stick Reiners behind our fullback, Munyani, if Munyani will be the one that's playing. And that's interesting because I think he might have to go with Shandu for that reason, who's more, aware defensively, than Munyani. But they will stick Reiners out there. And as soon as they win it, they will launch it to him, and he's going to be the one that runs to our defense and with those take-ons. And that's how they'll fancy chances. But Mteto will sit there and protect them, and he's going to be the one that's distributing, and I think he's fantastic for them. He's massive. So where do I think we win this game? I think where we win this game is Ndabaiteto Ndlondlo and obviously Patrick Maswanganyi. And this sounds so lazy because those are the men that I think our form and our good performances have been hinging on. I think to an even greater extent than people realize, than just the goals and the fantastic moments where Patrick is dribbling and things like that. I think what he does do is he allows us, and I've said this in one of the videos that I did on here about Patrick Tito Maswanganyi, in that he's very good at finding those pockets in between, the midfield and the defense, just in between them. He's very good at operating in between there, finding the spaces to receive progressive passes. So if someone, has statistics in South Africa, I don't know if anyone does these statistics, it'd be interesting to see that who's the one player in the league currently, or maybe top whatever, in the league who received the most received the most progressive passes. Because that statistic in itself implies that player is very good at finding, channels and pockets behind, in front of the defense, getting those balls. And that's what Maswanganyi does for us. He's very good at picking up spaces in between the midfield and the defense, and then getting it and turning and facing the other way, and then going from there. And Ndlondlo is the one who will kind of carry it at times, very good with progressive carries off the ball. I think sometimes he doesn't want to carry the ball. He'll play too early and make a wayward pass. But when Ndlondlo is doing what Ndlondlo does best, he's carrying the ball. He's getting it, turning and carrying it forward, breaking lines like that. And then Monari is the one who will keep it ticking, with the responsible passes. Is a pass on here? No, it's not on. Turning, protecting, shielding it, giving it to the center backs, back pass. And most people criticize that, but I think it's very important to have that balance, because you don't want all your midfielders to be making vertical risky passes where you don't keep the ball. Turnover of possessions all the time with all the passing is a problem. It's good when you've got a good balance of someone who's going to make sure that we keep the ball. And that's what Monari does. He's very good at helping us keep it, and he will shield it and he will protect it, which is important in this game because of just how relentless and how ferocious the press of Stellenbosch is in that midfield. We're going to need someone who's going to be able to protect it. And I think Ndlondlo is going to be so important, because if Ndlondlo has the best game, it will mean that he will be resisting those presses. And in resisting those presses in midfield, he'll be breaking lines, he'll be bypassing presses, and then turning us, having us facing Mteto and attacking him, where we've got couple of players around him, and we're attacking him. And by the way, if you will have seen that Kaizer Chiefs game, that's how Kaizer Chiefs scored. The first time, so Stellenbosch in this game versus Kaizer Chiefs, and it's fairly even though I'd argue that Stellenbosch was the most threatening in that game. But the first time that Kaizer Chiefs bypasses that midfield, Pule Modi receives, where Palace, I think, had lost a bit of concentration. He receives the ball behind the midfield, Pule Modi, and then he turns, and they're attacking Teto, Mtanzane and Modi together, and they obviously 1-2 around him. And yeah, Reynolds doesn't know whether to go out wide and, follow Bassadine, I think it was, who was attacking him, or come and engage. And so they keep tracking back. And obviously there's that space for Pulemodi, who takes a long range and he scores like that. But I think that's where it's going to hinge for us as well. We're going to be able to bypass that midfield. And Ndlondlo is going to be so important because he's the one between him and Munari who's more, I guess, given the role and the duty to come deep and be the pivot, make sure that we go from our defense and go to the next phase. And yeah, if Ndlondlo doesn't have a good game, Stellenbosch are going to win it high and they're going to counter attack like that. But if he has a good game, Dabateto Ndlondlo, he's turning that Stellenbosch midfield, and we are going on to attack. And obviously people like Mufokeng, Saleng, and mostly Maswanganye in between those pockets, receiving the ball from Ndlondlo and Munari, getting those vertical passes in between the lines is going to be important for us. I do want to say, though, that as much as I sit here and I talk about how threatening Stellenbosch, so I beg your pardon, you guys are going to say, well, what are you saying for money? It sounds like you're saying that there's no way we're going to beat Stellenbosch. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying what to expect from them. I think we're going to have too much for them. I was listening to the coach and he was talking about how the ground at Athlone is a bit better, so maybe that might play into it. But mostly because I think over 180 minutes, we just have too much for Stellenbosch. I think they will not be able to keep us out for too long. They will tire. And what's important is, by the time they tire, are we going to have given a goal to them? So that's the thing with us, is we need to be more responsible, which we are at times, but we do suffer these goals, these unexpected, goals against oppositions. And like Chippa United, I thought that game we could have won. It was a tight one. It was a tight affair. But I think if we don't concede that goal, we maybe even get the second goal. But you give them a goal, then they sit back and they rest in a low block, and then we start to struggle scoring like that. But in the times that they will have tired Stellenbosch, are we still going to be in the game, or is it still going to be 0-0? Will we have scored an early goal then? Because if that happens, then we can go in and get the second and maybe the third. But if we give them an early goal, then it's going to be a hard one. I think it's going to be hard to break them down. But I think over 180 minutes, we are going to have moments. I don't see this game as one where we're going to have so many chances to score, but I think we're going to get opportunities over 180 minutes, and I think we're just going to be too much for them. But yeah, let me leave it here. Let's go watch it. I'm sad it's not at Athlone Stadium. The atmosphere is amazing at the stadium currently. But yeah, until then, when they come here, hopefully the score will be in our favor. But until then, up the mighty Bucks. Cheers. Listen, hit that subscribe button. Do it right now. I demand it. And I thank you for it, for your compliance.